Happy Monday and good morning. Welcome to another edition of 3 Point Stance presented by Mountain Dew. Meghan, Triplett, John Roser back with you like always. And Roser, the floor is yours for our first dance because you guys are the king of the Masters update. You and Chris Vernon, Devin Walker, y'all have killed it. The Masters wrapped up on Sunday, so take it away.
And shout out to Alex. He was also in the frog costume.
I didn't know who everybody was, the mascots.
Yeah. Devin and Alex, they switched up which animals they were going to be on both days. No, Dustin Johnson is the winner of the 2020 Masters, which the 2021 Masters will be coming up in just a short time in 5 months in April. But Dustin Johnson, he's one of the elite players in all of the PGA Tour. And the issue with him has been he doesn't have the major titles. He has won a tournament every year he's been on the PGA Tour, has at least won one event. He's won the event here in Memphis, not since it's been a WGC event, but before when it was just the FedEx St. Jude Classic. He won that tournament multiple times. So he's a guy who's always come to Memphis too. So that's another reason I like him. But he only has the one U.S. Open title, and he has kind of been known for blowing a bunch of major championship, chances where he's had a 54-hole lead and hasn't been able to close the deal on Sunday. But he just got his second major title, and he is at his peak of powers right now because he basically on Saturday decided I'm going to try to run away. He built a big lead, and he was able to hold everybody off and extend it even more on Sunday. So congratulations to Dustin Johnson.
Yeah, and I have to say the best part of it all was I forgot that, whoever wins, the former winner has to put on the green jacket. So for Tiger, wasn't the best, he didn't play the best this weekend, didn't play good really at all. And that's who I pick. I always cheer for Tiger Woods. But to have him up there, you're like, oh, I wonder what that moment is like when you didn't play well. But it's still a monumental moment is to put that green jacket on Dustin.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And look, Tiger's game is not there right now. We saw as the course got harder on Saturday and Sunday, it started to firm up and the greens got a lot faster. Tiger's game didn't look as good. He's struggling with that back injury. You could see it several times over the weekend too, where he kind of winced a little bit. But he's always going to be tough at that course. He knows that course better than anybody else on tour. And he's got 5 months to get himself right for the next Masters.
I know. And then if you want to hear more from the Masters update, I know you can hear more from Roser and Chris Vernon, Devin Walker. You can also on the Chris Vernon show. I'm sure it's going to be some more TV gold magic. That's at noon on grindsandmedia.com. For our second stance, let's talk about some NFL action, talk about some young quarterback play. It was the Dolphins versus the Chargers, Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa. You see these two young quarterbacks and these two franchises taking a chance where some people were kind of questioning would they have it. The game was great. Dolphins could get the victory, but when you look at it as a bigger picture, it looks as if these two young guys could have a nice home with these two franchises.
There's no doubt about it. Like when we saw Justin Herbert, like I saw him at Oregon, and I was just like, whatever. Me
too.
Yeah. So what I'm basically saying, his offensive coordinator at Oregon is the head coach at UNLV. So probably we should be fading UNLV every week. Get on your FanDuel Sportsbook account and, bet against UNLV. No, Justin Herbert, when we saw him, it was the first game was against Kansas City. And he came in, found out he was starting like 10 minutes before the game. And he was just throwing dimes everywhere. And so then it was like, we hadn't seen Tua yet. And it was, Miami better have gotten this right because it definitely looks like the Chargers have a stud here at quarterback. And we've seen Tua now, and that both teams knocked it out of the park with this. We've been kind of wondering after Eli Manning, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, when is the next wave of young quarterbacks coming? Well, I think it's here. We've got Patrick Mahomes. We've got Deshaun Watson. We've got Lamar Jackson, even though he's overrated. Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa. There are a bunch of really, really good young quarterbacks in this league, and it looks like we're going to have some more coming in the NFL draft when you talk about Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask. There's another wave that might be coming too.
I never looked at it that way, at talking about the other young quarterbacks who could come up in the draft and like where they're gonna go. And these young guys are taking over as we still have that old school play. Ben Roethlisberger had an amazing game after not practicing and having to quarantine for 5 days, come out looking like a stud still. Drew Brees gets hurt and Jameis Winston having to come in. That's another young guy who, hey, he's still young. Give him a chance. He didn't throw for an interception at all. I mean, that says a lot from coming off of what you used to throw with the Bucs, and now you have the weapons. So as you mentioned, we do have a lot of young quarterbacks who can make a lot of noise. And for Tua, I was one of the people who really thought that, I thought that the Dolphins might have mishandled it, where I knew Tua had the talent, but coming off of that injury, I just thought, did we rush him becoming a starter? Fitzpatrick, it was going okay with him. Why not have him, come off the bench behind him, work him in, and it. You know what? The Dolphins got it right, and so don't listen to me because I was wrong. But I'm happy to see it work out for him. But I was a little nervous and concerned.
Yeah, I wonder too. Man, this dude had almost had a career-ending injury, and it does make you kind of squeamish when you do see him out there. But he wants to play football. Doctors have cleared him, and he's doing great.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to some college football action. From college football, we had South Carolina fire Will Muschamp after their huge loss against Ole Miss. But let's talk about another team, though. Michigan. Michigan loses to Wisconsin. Obviously Michigan wants to always beat Ohio State, but you definitely don't want to lose like you did to Wisconsin. And people are wondering, is it time for Michigan to move on from Jim Harbaugh? It's time for Jim Harbaugh to move on and maybe try out in the NFL. Maybe the NFL might be your home. It's working out for your brother. What's your stance on it?
Yeah, I think he is going to end up leaving Michigan, and I think he will go back to the NFL. I don't know if he'll get a head coaching job in the NFL. I don't know if he would take a coordinator position or a coaching position or an assistant coaching position in the NFL. I don't know. I think he's got too big of an ego to work for his brother. But look, I'm surprised it has not worked at Michigan. Now he's got a lot of wins, but if you look at the ones that matter against Michigan State, against Penn State, against Notre Dame, against Ohio State, the record ain't great. And if we've seen Michigan play, they've already lost to Michigan State. We know on December 12th they ain't beating Ohio State. We know how that game goes. So yeah, and then I'll say another one too. Tennessee should fire Jeremy Pruitt. Now I know this is kind of weak. Tennessee didn't even play. It's like how you firing a guy on his bye week, firing a guy on his day off, basically. You getting fired on your day off. But and South Carolina may try to beat them. They try to beat them all to it, but the Tennessee, Michigan, and Auburn's going to end up firing Gus Malzahn once Alabama beats the crap out of them at the end of the season. They should be in a race to hiring Hugh Freeze. Now, he may not want to leave Liberty. He just signed an extension, but I got to think if it's one of those big-time programs that he absolutely would leave Liberty. They should be racing to hire him.
Ooh, wow. Against Hugh Freeze, that extension was up to 2026. Obviously money factors in, and a lot of these teams are willing to play a lot of money to get different head coaches. So we'll see. Liberty is the hot team that, Hugh Freeze has coached and had a phenomenal season thus far. The Big Ten in general, they just have a lot of mess going on right now. When you look at a team like Indiana, who has been playing, all the credit to Indiana, they're playing phenomenal. Michigan State didn't even get on the board against Indiana, but Penn State loses to Nebraska. I mean, Penn State has had to deal with, people opting out and the news about Journey Brown having to medically retire. So they have gone through a lot within the organization, but for the Big Ten, this is not the Big Ten that we all thought. We all waited for. We all thought that it was going to be some type of battle or race. Who's going to be the top? Ohio State, main leader, and Indiana right behind them. Crazy.
They play this weekend. Ohio State and Indiana play this weekend. And the line is 20.5, which I think it might be a little too much. That Indiana team does look good, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Ohio State from scoring at all. It's unfortunate Maryland had COVID issues because we would have gotten to see this past weekend. We would have gotten to see baby Tua's younger brother play against Ohio State, but that game got canceled.
Well, like always, we'll be back next week to give you all of our stances from all the action that was. Roser, I am Megan. Thanks for watching this edition of 3 Point Stance presented by Mountain Dew.